Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion Plays The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus. I have accidentally smashed the spacebar so hard I have continued a run on my first save file that's probably like from a stream 5 years ago. We're back. How could you do something so ridiculous? I am willing to tell you, oh my god, 2020, 8CT470FJ with great stats, honestly, great stats all around. You know, I've been talking about setting the record for, like, earliest Isaac episode recently. It is 6:42 a.m. right now on a Sunday morning, and I gotta tell you, I kind of dragged my heels this morning. I've been up since, like, 5:30. I watched the first 45 minutes of Austin Powers' Goldmember, while feeding the baby and burping the baby and trying to give the baby the pacifier to see if they just wanted some soothing or, you know, maybe she's still hungry. It turns out she's still hungry, so then you know, go warm up a little bit of extra milk. But anyway, this may now set the record for earliest Isaac recording, at least in years. But I don't know. That's where my threshold is at right now. Like, 5:01 a.m. is where I go from, like, let's take another little nap before I get up, to, like, let's get up for real. So I'm happy to be here. I appreciate it. It's probably... I'm aware that I'm doing essentially the hardest job in the world right now, so I appreciate all your support. And to be slightly tired while doing it, it's more than you would ask of even history's greatest heroes. So, you know, I don't do it for me. I do it for the little Isaac maniacs out there. You know, they wouldn't know what to do with themselves if there wasn't an Isaac episode. So, why would I watch Austin Powers Goldmember? Well, I've got a storied history with the Austin Powers franchise, as I've mentioned many times. I think the first movie is actually pretty great. I think it's a pretty good comedy, maybe even a borderline comedy classic. The second one, I think, is highly overrated. I think it's not particularly good. I have seen it about 100 times. There's some things to like about it, but like, it has one of my favorite lines in any movie ever. And you know what I'm going to say if you're a big fan of the videos and you've seen a lot of them. Turns out my wife Vanessa was a fembot. Yes, we knew all along, sadly. Anyway, Goldmember is, it kind of, it's like really bad, in my opinion. I went to Netflix, to just see, like, what can I mindlessly watch while I'm feeding the baby? And, Goldmember was trending in Canada. It was Canada's 7th most popular film today, and I said, you know what, why the heck not? Why the heck not? And it really, like, it's an easy watch, don't get me wrong, but there's just some stuff in that movie where I'm like, Mike Myers is a funny guy. He's capable of funny stuff. Like, the movie just almost... I don't want to get too scholarly with it, because first off, I'm not qualified for it, but secondly, it's just kind of embarrassing, because it's a farcical film meant to just be humorous. But that doesn't mean it can't be bad, and it also does not mean that it can't be better, right? Oh, we've already been to our item room. Okay, let's get the heck out of town. This would be a great floor for an arcade. Let me caffeinate real quick here. So, just some hallmarks from, oh, crap. From Goldmember. In case you've forgotten, maybe you saw it when you were like 12 and you're like, I remember laughing. That seems about age appropriate. I actually saw it, it was not like the Hollywood premiere, but when, you know, the movie came out, the radio station in my hometown did an early premiere and we got tickets to it. And I remember, I don't know, it came out in 2003, so I would have been like 14 and a huge fan of Austin Powers. And I remember watching it and being like, this is probably, like, I know that there's funny movies, but I don't know if any movie has ever been this funny. Times change, that's all I'm saying. To give you some indication of some hallmarks from Goldmember. Fred Savage plays a character, who is a mole, i.e. a double agent. He also has a large mole on his face, to which Austin Powers cannot stop himself And I understand where this bit is going. They were going to laboriously explain every single joke. Well, if you explain every joke like that, of course you're going to take the humor out of it. But I don't know if you get it. Because the thing is, he has like an enormous mole on his face. And Austin Powers, who we're supposed to believe is an international man of mystery, capable of thwarting the most sophisticated plans that Dr. Evil could possibly muster, doesn't possess the necessary self-control in order to not say mole all the time. Like, for example, he says nice to mole you instead of nice to meet you. But then after that, Fred Savage, in a line that I'm sure was probably written by Mike Myers, to be fair, but Fred Savage says, by the way, I recognize I have a large mole on my face. I also recognize the irony that my role in this organization is a mole. It's like he's explaining that he knows the joke is dumb, to which Austin Powers replies, mole, 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 and then they end scene. Like, that's where they chose, they were like, that's punchy, we gotta get that out there. Alright, we are gonna take duality just to feel alive here. I guess we'll go gamble on, that hurt, on those slot machines to try to get a key. I think it's worth using 2 of diamonds to make it happen, too, unfortunately. It's not our traditional use case, but it is what it is. A bomb would be good, too. Like, it's just, like, it's not a smart movie, but that doesn't mean, like, I hate when people go, like, oh, it's just a movie you turn your brain on and laugh. Yeah, but that doesn't mean, like, there's lots of great movies you can turn your brain on and, or turn your brain off and laugh at, you know? Like, be careful with this answer. I mean, I don't think The Hangover is, like, that amazing of a movie, but I think that, you know, as far, by, like, you know, comedy standards, it's pretty good. The sequels, much like Austin Powers, don't even, you know, talk to me about the sequels. A speed upgrade, no thank you. Pause button with an orbital's good, but without it, no thank you. Dude, purity can be pretty sick too. Okay, it's pretty solid. And I guess we're just gonna, we should gamble for that tinted rock. There's a chance we might get it. Okay, so you've cherry-picked one example. Can you name any more? That might be the dumbest thing in the movie. Well, the villain in Goldmember is, well, Dr. Evil, who is kind of a sympathetic villain. And then Goldmember, who is a Dutch evil man who is, he loves gold so much. They don't even explain this. He just says stuff like, I love gold so much, I even lost my here in a smelting accident. And I'm like, does that mean you love gold if you had an accident? I mean, I guess he was literally loving the gold, and that's how, it's not really an accident, though. It just is a line that is incoherent. But then, like, watching the movie, and I recognize I'm spinning my wheels here. I'm doing my best to pull it back a little bit, but the cognitive centers of the brain are not at maximum functionality right now. But I'm trying to get there. I can feel the anger welling up inside of me, you know? And that's usually a good sign. You know, the first line of a character is very important for their introduction, you know, very important to establish their character. Very important to set the tone of the piece of media that you're watching to begin with or reading to begin with. You know, like I always think of like the first line of Albert Camus' The Stranger is like, you know, mother died today, or maybe it was yesterday. You know, it demonstrates in a single line the themes of The Stranger, which is kind of, you know, I mean, a little bit of an unreliable narrator, but then, like, secondly, beyond that, the idea that, you know, nothing matters at all. So why even, you know, your thread that attaches you to reality is so frayed that, you know, you can't trust anything you hear in this. And maybe it doesn't matter at all, or maybe at the end you decide that it does. You know, and then, you know, call me Ishmael. You know, it sets the tone of Herman Melville's Moby Dick. Goldmember's first line in the movie Austin Powers Goldmember is literally he skates out on roller skates. And he says, and I quote, to use Dan Carlin's parlance, and I quote, "I am from Holland. Isn't that weird?" That's it. That's his That's the introduction of Goldmember. Which, again, I've never been on Saturday Night Live, nor have I made any comedy films except perhaps I was a part of Dragon Slayer Doppelganger. We could call it executive producing as well as starring, but I wasn't aware that just being from a country could just be a joke. Like, don't get me wrong. Okay, so, like, parts of Goldmember have not aged well. For example, when Austin Powers is about to fornicate with Japanese twins named Fuke-me and Fuke-you. That's something that in 2003, as a 14-year-old, I went like, yeah, that makes sense. That's cool. As a 31-year-old, I'm like, not only is it just a little bit, I don't know if I'd say it's like super offensive, but it's kind of like, yeah, that's where you're going with that one, huh? But it also just doesn't make sense. I'm like, I don't even think that's a name. Like, I just don't. You just made that up. I guess maybe that's how all jokes come to pass, but maybe that's not what I should be criticizing it for. But at least there's a joke there, which is like the name sounds like, you know, a call to action, if you will. But then I was like honestly offended when Goldmember said, I am from Holland, isn't that weird? Not because he's from Holland, or I'm from Holland, and I'm like, oh, you can't say that. But more because, like, there's no joke. The joke is just... And then people, the worst part is, people just, you know, recited the quote for, like, myself included, I guess, for, like, 10 years after that. Hey, have you seen Goldmember? I love that movie. I love the part where he goes, I am from Holland, isn't that weird? It is weird, dude. Or is the joke on me? Like, is there some kind of secondary joke? What do I mean by that? I'm just trying to make sure, like, I know, because this is, like, really good for rate of fire. Do we want to, like, is it worth trying to get the extra HP and the extra money? I actually don't think so. I think we're happier with a 2 rate of fire, even if it is temporary. Let me caffeinate here. Is it some kind of, like, anti-joke? Where, like... because it's not funny and it makes no sense, that's what makes it funny. I don't know, the movie cost like $100 million to make. Is it a $100 million movie with a low concept anti-joke at the crux of it? It just doesn't make any... Plus, nothing in any of Mike Myers' movies is ever that, like, knowingly unfunny on purpose. Like in The Love Guru, how the character's named Maurice, and then at the end of the movie he sings, you know, the Steve Miller Band song, The Joker, and he goes, some people call me Maurice. He winks to the camera like, hey, I knew all along that I was gonna make this joke. Like all the jokes in the movie are essentially just like the slightest bit of wordplay, or like a nod of the hat and a tip of the head to the idea that, like, I know that reference. Like in Goldmember's introduction where he goes, oops, I did it again, baby, when he's fighting Britney Spears. It's a multi-layered joke, and I understand this might be getting a little too cerebral, but it's a multi-layered joke where, obviously, Oops, I Did It Again is a song by Britney Spears, but Britney Spears was a fembot, and he actually did, in the first movie, destroy some fembots by dancing to the Divinals' song, I Touch Myself. So he's saying, oops, I did it again, because it's Britney Spears, but also, oops, I did it again. I destroyed a fembot with the power of my mojo, baby, yeah! Anyway. I respect the Austin Powers films. I don't think they should have made a third. The third is an affront to every... Like, they should have called it Austin Powers 3, The Age of Ultron. I also have a theory about, films, and I haven't ever put it into words, so I apologize. What I'm about to say may sound indelicate, but we're gonna try to work on it together, okay? I think that the more characters an actor plays in a single movie, the more likely the movie is gonna be complete trash. Now, I'm gonna hit you with a caveat, okay? I think there is an exception. I think in movies where the lead actor plays 2 characters, and I don't know if anybody wants to run some, like, R analysis on this, But, like, I think in movies where the lead actor plays only 2 characters, the movies tend to have a chance to be a little bit better. I'm thinking of stuff like the Eddie Murphy, Steve Martin movie, Bowfinger. I think that's a really good comedy. Eddie Murphy plays kind of an exaggerated version of himself, and he also plays like a nerdy twin version of himself. That makes the movie kind of tick. I think that movie's really good. Austin Powers 1, Mike Myers plays Austin Powers and Dr. Evil. It's a good movie. I think there's a lot of circumstances where an actor can play 2 different characters in the same film. And it may even... I'm not going to say that it guarantees the movie's going to be good. What I would say is that I think that if you looked at a representative sample of those movies, I think you might find that they tend to be above average. And you can come up with whatever cause for that you want. You know, for example, like, you know, the actor has already proved themselves to such an extent that some studio would be like, yeah, sure, we'll give you a movie where you can play 2 characters. I don't know. You've shown you're capable of playing 1. But the more movies... Or let me rephrase. The more characters that an actor plays in the same movie, the worse it's gonna be. That's my 2 cents on the subject. Even, like, it definitely holds true in the limited sample size, no thank you, of Austin Powers. I guess we will be spending... Oh, we got golden keys. Let's do it, dude. Like, in Austin Powers 1, he plays 2 characters. Mike Myers plays 2 characters. In Austin Powers... 2, he plays 3 characters. He plays Austin Powers, he plays Dr. Evil, and he also plays a Scottish evil man of prodigious size called Fat B-Word. The movie is worse for it. But at least, like... First off, it wouldn't be a Mike Myers movie if he didn't at some point put on a Scottish accent. But then, like, secondarily... I can't believe I've been talking about this for like 15 minutes now. At least, like, he's a caricature, but he doesn't come out and go like, I'm from Scotland, isn't that weird? And then everybody laughs. He just, you know, the joke is implicit. Like, when he comes on the screen, you're like, whoa, is that guy from Scotland? I couldn't tell because he's wearing... traditional Scottish garb and also playing the bagpipes and talking in a highly exaggerated Scottish accent. She's turned the weens against us. Aye, mate. She's turned the weens against us. Sorry, I'm doing my best. She's turned the weens against us. I can't. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Again, I shouldn't talk, right? But I do feel a kinship as Canadians. You know how there's like sister cities? You know, like, you know, you'll go to like Los Angeles and it'll be like, hey, sister cities are Osaka, Japan, and you know, Paris, France, and blah blah. I think Canada and Scotland are sister countries. I'm telling you, like, I think we should form like a super country. And I know I've had this exact comment many times before. I'll get back to the Austin Powers analysis soon. But I really feel like we should form our own Commonwealth of Scotland, Canada, and New Zealand. I'm going to be honest, like, I don't know if New Zealand wants us. They seem like they're doing pretty well right now. At least, like, as a Canadian on the international stage, I look at New Zealand, and people here look at New Zealand, and they're envious. They're like, whoa, that seems like you guys some good stuff going on over there. Plus, Taika Waititi's doing some great work. Flight of the Conchords, of course. I hate to say it, but we're gonna go this way. All right, caffeinate again, and then moving on. I think we should form a super country. Why? What's the relation here? Like, I'm going to be honest, there's some geographic problems with this. Really, we are the smaller neighbors of a larger cultural power. Like, not to be rude, but, you know, obviously Canada, as much as, you know, there's a lot of Canadian culture that is, like, extremely influential to me. Like Austin Powers, for example. which is admittedly a movie in which a Canadian actor in an American film puts on a British accent. But, you know, let's just ignore that. But we can't compete with the output of the United States of America. You know, like, if you were to do an audit of your favorite music and movies and television programs, probably at least, I was gonna say at least a half come from the US, but even if it's less, even if it's like 25%, that's a lot for one country, dude. They're doing a great job over there in many respects. Hold on. This is our final floor. It is our final. I guess I'll be buying a bomb. Not really what I was looking for, but that's okay. We could get out of boss rush with AWAS, but more important than we get to our item room. Anyway, I digress. I think we got a lot of similarities. People make fun of our accents, even though it's very weird, because in Canada, we don't have an accent. In my opinion, from my frame of reference, we speak normally. Then when someone is like, hey, I'm walking here, I go, well, buddy, where are you from? Hey, you hoser, we don't talk like that here. Wait for the dang crosswalk, bud. Anyway, what was I saying? Austin Powers. Okay. Austin Powers 2, he plays 3 characters. The movie is worse as a result, although I will admit his portrayal of Fat B-Word is not necessarily the worst part of Austin Powers 2. What is the worst part? Mike Myers' continual insistence. Like, he's like the George Lucas of spy spoof comedies. He just needs somebody to say no to him. Like, Austin Powers 1 has, Burt Bacharach singing, "What the world needs now is love, sweet love." And it works, you know, they're in Vegas, they're taking in the sights in the night sky, and on the strip. Austin Powers 2 has Elvis Costello, "What do you get when you fall in love?" You know, and it's a moment. It's a moment that has some importance for the story. But then it also has Dr. Evil singing "Just the Two of Us" about his clone, Miniature Me, which, why not? Is really the start of, you know what? Why not? It's not good, but it's kind of like, you know, it was novel at the time, so it's humorous. But then in the second movie, like, or in Goldmember, Dr. Evil's in prison and he sings like it's a hard knock life with Mini-Me, and like it's just, if you might say that's funny, but like if you go back and watch it, it has no merit in 2020. Like, I know that sounds overly snobby, but literally the joke is that, like, Dr. Evil's rapping. That's the whole joke. Anyway, I think I've given more time. I mean, the movie's only 90 minutes long, and I've already spoken about it for about 20 minutes. So I apologize. I could go on a lot longer. It is one of those, like, if I lived through the release of all the Austin Powers films, so I get them. I feel like if you were born in an era where you weren't really, like, contemporaneous with the Austin Powers films, watching the start of Goldmember must be insane. Like, you must have thought that everybody had lost their mind in the year 2003, and you would be, like, a little correct, for certain. But, like, Tom Cruise, Gwyneth Paltrow, Kevin Spacey, yikes, Danny DeVito, Steven Spielberg, Britney Spears, Quincy Jones, like, they're all involved in the start of Austin Powers Goldmember. John Travolta, and like, some of them are serious actors. You know, like Gwyneth Paltrow, she's kind of like a, look, the Goop stuff, yeah, and yeah, alright, so she played Pepper Potts, big deal. But she was like an Oscar-nominated actress. She plays Dixie Normus in the opening of Austin Powers and Goldmember. So this is what should blow you away, is that, like, I was 14 when Austin Powers Goldmember came out, and I thought it was hilarious. The adults around me should have known better. I can't be held responsible, but I saw it in a theater full of, like, middle-aged adults who were laughing their heads off, which is not a, you know, I'm happy that brought a brief moment of extra happiness into the world, but at the same time, I'm like people who had fully formed brains watched this movie and went like, yeah, that's funny. He's from Holland. Isn't that weird? What, do you not get it? Anyway, sorry. Also, like, watching Goldmember back, I just, like, look back on it and I'm like, I feel bad for Beyonce. I'm like, you're better than this. You're better than your performance, but you're better than this film, but we maybe didn't know it yet. Alright, we're gonna take Brimstone. I don't think we're gonna take Sacrificial Dagger. Now, I do want to... Oh, my Lanta, dude. A lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I do want to say, if you enjoy Austin Powers and Goldmember, there's no way to say this without it sounding snobby, but, I mean, I did just go off on it a little bit for, like, 23 minutes. I'm a little jealous, honestly, because... you might think, like, hey, NL, stop being annoying, like, just watch the movie and yuck it up. I can't turn this part of my brain off. Lord knows I've tried. I mean, it's gonna sound insane, but, like, I actually like a lot of dumb comedies. It's not, I'm not just like, oh, well, this movie doesn't even include a single reference to, you know, the Bolshevik Revolution. How am I supposed to find entertainment? It's not like that at all. You know, like, a dumb movie that I actually quite enjoyed when I saw it was Hot Tub Time Machine, the first Hot Tub Time Machine, not the second one. I haven't seen the second one, because I'm learning comedy sequels, tend not to do it, you know? They tend not to be able to stand up to the original. Now, when I saw Hot Tub Time Machine, I did not think, oh man, this is an incredible film. But I was like, you know what? It's a humorous premise, and it's, you know, it's got affable leads, and it even has kind of it has a spirit to it, you know? It has kind of like a moral, with Rob Corddry's character having kind of like been perpetually stuck in the time that they physically time travel back to, and then, you know, getting a second opportunity to live his life maybe in a different way with the benefit of the wisdom that he's gained over the years. Not a stellar film, but I thought it was, like, pretty decent. And I'm not even talking, like, I love comedies. It's probably, next to maybe, like, science fiction, it's probably my favorite genre of movie, right? So there's stuff like Superbad that, you know, I think is, again, not all of it is aged super well, but, you know, that I'm a big fan of it. Even last year, like, so it's kind of like, it's very similar to Superbad, don't get me wrong, but last year, Olivia Wilde's directorial debut, Booksmart, came out. I thought that movie was fantastic. I think we'll actually take Death's List. Let's get a little weird here, and let's continue to caffeinate. The coffee's only half done. I'm telling you, it's not that I like no comedies. I'm really just asking for gold. I just want Mike Myers. I want to sit down and just ask him a question. And it's not like with malice, you know, he's been in some great movies. And I'm not just talking about Inglorious B-words. He's help me. He's done his own good movies, including the first Austin Powers. But I just want to talk to him, and I just gotta ask, I guess. I just gotta know. Mike Myers, when you were writing Goldmember, and you were trying to come up with the character of Goldmember, were there any other candidates than I am from Holland, isn't that weird? Like, it's just such a, like, an embarrassing line. I know I'm going too hard on it, but it's like, this is a major Hollywood picture, right? It's not something they just kind of, like, fart out. Like, it took 3 years to make or something like that. And then you're for real, like, in the final, don't you have, like, people that punch up the script? No struggling stand-up comedians were called to come in and be like, so when he says he's from Holland, isn't that weird? Is there, like, a line missing or something like that that explains why that joke, like, makes any sense? Anyway, I apologize. As we all know, I've taken this too far. It is still only, it's 7:11 in the morning. 7 even back though, little Joe. Anyway. The one thing I will always say is that, you know, you might think I'm playing a character when I say some of this stuff, and some of the stuff I guess I am, for sure. But this is, like, for real, this is what's wrong with me. This is the kind of person I am. I'm glad to get hit there, to be honest. I think it may give us rate of fire increase in the future, which would be extremely helpful. But it's so much easier to just turn, like, to just not be a snob and then just like more things, because it endears you to people, you know? Nobody wants to hear, like, oh, this movie that I think is hilarious, actually this guy thinks is trash, you know? It would be much easier. There we go. It'd be much easier for me, and again, much smarter from an optic standpoint, to just learn to keep my mouth shut, but there's just something, like, inside of me that is just like, I can't just let that line slide. And it's not because it's culturally insensitive, because I'm not even sure it is culturally insensitive. I mean, we're all mature enough here to, I think, acknowledge it's not really weird at all to be from Holland. I don't know what the population of the Netherlands is. I'm going to guess that it's like, I don't know, around 10 million? I don't have my phone on me, so if you'll allow me to alt-tab. Let's see. Population of the Netherlands. 17.28 million. Okay, so I was off. I apologize. It's the first time I ever thought about it, but it's not really that weird to be from Holland. Even though, obviously, you know, that's a very small percentage of the world population, but that doesn't make it weird. You know, it's not weird to be from, like, Belgium. It'd be weird if you were, like, from the moon. Anyway, you get the idea. It's available on Netflix if you want to see it. For now, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. See ya!